Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intro.
Right back, Nation. What is good? It is your boy DJ Swood, Run It Back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. Algo Gang, do your thing. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn your notifications on, all that stuff. We watched the game last night on PlaybackTV. It was a blast. My boy Jimmy was up here with me. We had 75 people in the stream. Join us next time. Playback.tv/RunItBackPhilly. Join us tonight against the Phoenix Suns. Playback.tv/RunItBackPhilly. But let's get into the business, man. The Sixers lose 120-112. Joel Embiid has a masterclass 46 points. But there's some things that happened that contributed to the Sixers' loss. The two main things are Doc Rivers' rotations and playing without James Harden, Jalen McDaniels, and Daniel House Jr. I know Daniel House Jr. hasn't been a major part of the team the whole season, but recently he has. He has stepped up, and Doc's been using him as a two-way player off the bench. So, even not having Daniel House Jr. in certain moments, certain bench lineups, proved detrimental to us. Here's the main reason. One of the main reasons. One of the main negatives that I took away from this performance. Doc Rivers' lineups. There was a very interesting thing that happened in the second quarter of this game. Paul Reed checked into the game as the backup center. He was in the game for 1 minute and 51 seconds in the second quarter, and Doc Rivers took him back out. Now, Paul had a turnover and looked a little bit out of sorts on like one play. And Doc yanked him right away. And Doc decided to go with PJ Tucker and George Niang at the 4 and the 5 in that quarter. And I've been saying, just wait on it. Paul Reed's going to make a mistake. Doc Rivers is going to pull him. And Doc's going to go with PJ Tucker at center. This is happening in games as we get closer to the playoffs, and this is going to happen in the playoffs. This is what Doc Rivers does. He is terrified. He is absolutely terrified to play a young player in big situations, and as soon as they make a tiny mistake, he yanks them, and he's going to put the more experienced, older player in the game, even if that player gets smoked. The Sixers were up when Doc Rivers made that decision. When he went with George Niang and PJ Tucker at the 4 and the 5 in the second quarter, George Niang was a -13. PJ Tucker was a -8. How did the Warriors power forward and center do in those minutes? Draymond Green was a +8. Jonathan Kuminga was a +11. In the second quarter because of that lineup. I'm just telling you, that was a small-scale example, and we've seen small-scale examples throughout the whole season. But just wait on it. Just wait on it. And there was plays where, even in the beginning of that quarter or other parts of the game where, Joel just needs an athletic power forward next to him. There was times where Joel would defend the rim, block a shot, and the Warriors would get the ball on the blocked shot because Tobias Harris and George Niang didn't clear out and didn't fight for the ball. These small weaknesses are going to get magnified as games become bigger, especially in the playoffs. It's just the way that it is. The Sixers have a couple of major flaws that Joel Embiid has been able to overcome throughout the regular season. I'm just stunned that Paul Reed made one mistake and got yanked, and Doc went with George Niang and PJ Tucker at the 4 and the 5. That's just not going to work. Speaking of PJ Tucker, 3 years, $33 million, 37-year-old player. He had another goose egg last night in 25 minutes. He had 0 points. He was 0 for 5 from the field. Those were 5 3-point attempts. Shocked that he even shot the ball 5 times. But in a situation where you're without James Harden, you're without a couple players, you need somebody to step up. PJ Tucker gives you 0 points on 0 for 5 from the field. And I know what people are going to say. It's what they've been saying all season. PJ Tucker's waiting for the playoffs, or he's going to be better in the playoffs. Why? Well, what's different about the playoffs that PJ Tucker's suddenly going to be better? PJ Tucker was horrendous last night. Another thing about PJ Tucker is he has no interest in shooting the ball whatsoever. And I can't figure out why. So many times throughout the season, and especially in this game, he would catch the ball in the corner, wide open, and pass it out. There was even times where he was wide open in the corner, somebody passed the ball to him, and he was already moving off the three-point line to pass the ball back before he even touched the damn ball. There was a couple situations in the game where Joel Embiid got double-teamed, kicked it out to PJ Tucker. This is the whole PJ Tucker idea, that he's going to make teams pay for doubling Joel because he's a great corner three-point shooter. There was times where Joel kicked it to him being double-teamed, then he passed it back, and Joel passed it back to him. PJ Tucker got benched in the fourth quarter. This is a starter who Doc Rivers loves to play all of starter minutes and always has PJ Tucker in the finishing lineup. He finally put his ass on the bench because in the fourth quarter, when the game was close, Joel got doubled. He kicked it to PJ. PJ kicked it back. Joel kicked it back to PJ again, and then he shot it and bricked the hell out of it. But it was clear that Joel Embiid was frustrated with the fact that, bro, why are you passing the ball back right when I give it to you instead of shooting the open three? And Doc took him off the floor in the fourth quarter, benched him for the rest of the game. The Sixers have a PJ Tucker issue. That's a fact. PJ Tucker was signed to this team to be the defender and corner three-point specialist. He shot 46.5% from corner threes last year in Miami. You would think with Joel Embiid, James Harden, everybody else drawing in defenses, PJ Tucker would be feasting in the corner. But instead, PJ Tucker is actually shooting 1.8 three-point attempts per game. That is the lowest rate in his entire career. Make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense. George Niang last night, 30 minutes, made 1 field goal. These role players are just not going to get it done in the biggest games. They're not going to get it done in the biggest games, these role players. They're just Joel Embiid had 46 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists in the game. Again, without James Harden, Joel Embiid steps up and becomes some kind of pseudo Shaquille O'Neal mixed with Nikola Jokic facilitator. He's an amazing, ridiculous talent. It continues to absolutely shock me. 46 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. And realistically, if motherfuckers would shoot the goddamn ball, he would have had a triple-double. For him to even have 8 assists in this game is crazy. And the tweet that I put out a couple days ago, I said if Joel Embiid shot the ball less and passed the ball more, he would be Nikola Jokic. It stands true. Joel chooses to dominate games and try to lead his team to victory. If he just shot the ball about half the amount and handed it off to guards more, he would be Nikola Jokic. I'm dead serious about that. Joel was absolutely manhandling the Warriors' interior defense. He had 19 points at halftime. He had 28 points in the second half. They couldn't do anything with him when he decided, okay, my team needs me to take over this game. He was just putting people under the rim the entire second half. Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Kevin Looney, they couldn't do anything with him. They were hacking away every single possession, which led to 22 Joel Embiid free throws. And the little haters on Twitter, of course, are talking about, oh my God, he shot 22 free throws. If Nikola Jokic shot this many free throws, blah, 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 blah. Like referees just go out and decide that Joel Embiid's going to shoot free throws today. Or, what makes more sense, Joel Embiid's getting fouled all the time because people can't guard him. He was putting grown men inside the rim last night. They had no choice but to bear hug him every single time he got down there. And Giannis Antetokounmpo leads the NBA in free throws per game, but nobody cares because he sucks at shooting free throws. Joel Embiid is very good at shooting free throws, so now everybody's mad that he's scoring so many points from the free throw line. But guess what? If you don't foul him under there, he's getting a bucket anyway. What does that equal? The same amount of points or more. Use your brains here, guys. Come on, man. Your favorite player doesn't get 22 free throws in a game because he doesn't have the physical dominance to be able to put players in a position to where they have no choice but to foul him. Your favorite player can't move Draymond Green off the block. Cry about it. Tyrese Maxey gave you 21 points. Would have liked to see a better performance from him in the absence of James Harden, but he is 22 years old. But, Maxey, he tried. He put up some shots in certain situations that would have been huge. He just came up short, especially in the fourth quarter. He was trying to do his thing. He was trying to take over when we needed him to take over, and he was missing shots. He blew a layup, a wide-open layup at one point. So a little bit of a choke job, I guess you could say, by Tyrese Maxey. We really needed him to step up in the fourth quarter and do something. We needed somebody to step up and do something besides Joel Embiid, and nobody could really get that done. We'll see tonight against the Phoenix Suns. We'll see if James Harden plays. Obviously, the game is much different with James Harden. There's people saying that Tyrese Maxey needs to be able to score without James Harden on the floor. And I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily true. It's like a backup quarterback to me in the NFL. If you get to the playoffs and you don't have James Harden, you're done. You need to just accept that you're done. You can't look at Tyrese Maxey and say, you need to step up and be the superstar. He's not a superstar. He's a third option on a good team. He's a little bucket getter. He's 22 years old. If you're relying on Tyrese Maxey to create your offense, you're not going to go very far in the playoffs. You just got to be real with yourself here. If you go into an NFL playoff game with a backup quarterback besides Nick Foles, for whatever reason, 99.9% of the time, you're cooked. So no, Tyrese Maxey doesn't need to learn to score without James Harden. Tyrese Maxey and the Sixers need James Harden to be healthy to have a chance to win a championship. And that's just the fact of the matter. And to end this video, I want to say this. The real free throw merchants in this game were the Golden State Warriors. And I'm getting more and more frustrated with the NBA. Because the NBA 2 years ago changed the rule, the Trae Young rule, the Damian Lillard rule, the James Harden rule, whatever you want to call it, where they came out publicly and said, if an offensive player makes a move that is not a natural basketball shooting motion and jumps sideways or backwards into the defender to create contact, or kicks a leg out during a shot to create contact, it is an offensive foul. For some reason, the officials in the NBA forget all about that. They don't know that that exists anymore. They have reverted back to giving players calls for jumping sideways, backwards, and kicking legs out on jump shots. Jordan Poole, I'm going to start calling him belly flop because he's a pool and he flops. That wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. But Jordan Poole flopped this whole goddamn game. Jump shots, kicking his legs out, flailing his arms, jumping backwards, jumping sideways. It was ridiculous. And they rewarded him every single time. And Steph Curry wasn't having a good game, and he got a couple situations too where he just kind of jumped backwards or sideways and kicked his legs out and threw his arms up and got a foul call. The difference between Joel Embiid and these players is that Joel Embiid is actually getting fouled. But the NBA has an agenda for the Lakers and the Warriors to be in the playoffs. I understand it. It's entertainment. It is what it is. You got to deal with it. It's a business. If I was in charge of billions of dollars, would I lose money to be the realist? No. I would want the most entertaining product on the floor in the playoffs also. So in the NBA, when you play the Warriors or the Lakers, you got to beat them and the officials. The Sixers had a chance to do that. They came up short. It is what it is. We move on to the Phoenix Suns tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a good one. Peace.